saying that you know the exact characteristics of every worldview and you
Yes,
can
in the history of
prove
philosophy, there's only
it's
certain
not the
paradigms that have
case?
been brought up. There's not infinite. You can have infinite combinations and little tweaks here. I go, but the general broad categories that they all fit into, if you slaughter the main general category that they all fit into, you slaughter every single variation of it.
But
That's easy. That's child's play,
you're a
philosophically speaking.
presuppositionalist. Like you claim that your worldview is necessary. And
That's what proof of your transcendental argument. Right. That was
the
controversial point.
implication of that is that
You know.
no other worldview is possible. Now
Correct.
that is a
Yes. What
bold
do you think
claim.
that
I'd
means?
like to
There's
hear
an
an
infinite
argument
number of
for
ones
it.
we have to slaughter, or what? What are you thinking when we bring that up? What are you
Frankly,
thinking
yes,
through your thought process?
exactly that. You have to
Okay,
disprove the possibility of any other
I
worldview
know.
to show that
Yes,
your
it's
worldview
easy.
is necessary.
That's easy. You want me to give you the general three categories that any worldview is going to fit in besides Christianity?
Frankly,
You know,
if you could
you
make an
know.
argument that demonstrates that all other worldviews are impossible, I'll become a Christian right now. And
That's what an ultimate
frankly,
transcendental argument is.
you'll get some kind of academic prize for being the brightest philosopher on earth,
No,
and
no, the polar
it will be a
philosophers already
delight.
done this. Yeah,
Frankly,
Van
I'll
Til
come to the
being one of them.
party.
Van Til being one of them. Just restating what Van Til has. He's already done it. The Bible's already done it. He's made foolish wisdom of the world. He's saying anything that denies Christianity, you're being reduced to foolishness.
Look, I
You think
try
there's an
to
infinite number of spins on non-believing worldviews? I go, you haven't really thought very categorically about it. I go, you got deals with one worldviews that want to assert some impersonal absolute.
look.
Eastern religions, that's a
You
majority. Let me
you
finish. Come on, you wanted the answer, bud. You want the answer and go chew on it, and then you can revisit me when you want to have an actual intellectual interchange back and forth. You're merely just demanding an answer. I'm willing to give it to you right here, right now. So I can sum it up and I can go outside and play with my kid. All right. That's what you're demanding. I want to know this, man. I go, fine. Sit back in your recliner, digest it. But you're not even letting Matt lay it out. You're not even letting me lay it out. So you're dealing with first class, impersonal absolutes. They don't have knowledge, so I'm not sure how you cash out knowledge. It's just tanking the mysticism right at the very get go and want some impersonal absolute. So it's not cashing out intelligibility. You deal with the finite pantheons of the Greek and the Romans or the Norses or whatever. Well, these gods are finite limited. They can't be trusted or relied upon for anything. They were even subsumed on the impersonal phase when you get pushed back the Greeks further. Okay, that's still tagging to an impersonal absolute when you really get down to it. Now you get the ones that want to ape Christianity or pay lip service to the Bible, but don't want to hold to the Bible uh, holistically. Jesus, every jot and tittle has to be there. So if you pay lip service to the Bible, it's the entire package or none at all. You don't get to be picky choosy. So you're dealing with Judaism, Islam, and the cults. Okay, they're non-Christian. They're non-Christian heretics. Okay, any worldview is going to be lumped into that. The naturalist is left into physical monism. Who wants to play the dualistic, impersonal, Platonism and stuff like that, they get thrown in that impersonal absolute as well. Okay? They're not ultimately accounting for unity amongst diversity either. Unitarian conceptions of God, Islam, Judaism aren't cashing out. Arianism, Jehovah's Witnesses, that's not grounded either. They're Unitarian conceptions of God. They're directly denying what the scriptures teach exegetically. They're refuted on exegetical grounds. Okay? So if I slaughter the scheme in general, I refute every single spin or variation thereof. There's no other categories for them to be lumped into. And I can deal with all three categories. No matter what my interlocutor brings up, I go, you're either in one of these three buckets. If you're not espousing Christian theism, you're either in one of these three buckets. Pick your bucket and I'll slaughter it. You want to jump to a different bucket? Slaughter that. Jump to the third one? Slaughter that one. There's nothing left to do. Showing the incoherence of all three main paradigms. If you haven't studied the history of Western philosophy, this is not going to make any sense to you, but that's been the discourse throughout the entire history of philosophy. It's been in low mitigated forms of we'll just affirm something in creation, make that an idol. Well, that's not competent enough. We'll show how that's going to slaughter intelligibility, even though that's what they want to have, intelligibility. The worldview's not cashing out. It's going to destroy that very intelligible principle they want to invoke or any operational feature they believe is intelligible. If they were pressed to the wall for consistency, they would not cash it out. That's a thorough transcendental worldview critique. Since a Christian being pressed to the wall to locational ultimacy, I want the unbeliever to be pressed to that location as well. What's good for the goose is good for the gander.
Would you say that something intelligible has to lead to intelligibility, like nothing else can?
We're not saying. I said
It
that
has to reveal it.
that worldview is not deduced or induced from it, but is a necessary precondition of it.
Right.
It's not a deductive
So,
argument, it's not an inductive argument. It's a
so on.
transcendental argument, which even deduction induction could be the thing in the center of the page, which the worldview has to ground, the very operational feature. It's not a given. The worldview has to cash it out.
Okay. So on your view, something intelligible has to reveal intelligibility to us, or we wouldn't have intelligibility.
It's the
Because you
very
were denying
grounds
the first one.
preconditions of. We're dealing with the preconditions of intelligibility.
I'm sorry. Could I just get a yes or no?
I don't like
Like,
how you're twisting the language, so I'm going to be precise and say how I
oh,
want to state it.
okay.
So
Is it possible for? Let me ask it this way: is it possible for something without a mind to give us intelligibility on your worldview? Is that possible?
no,
Right.
no,
Okay, perfect. So when I go outside to my garage right now and I step on a scale, I haven't weighed myself in a while. The scale doesn't have a mind, right?
talk about a mechanism the man uses to measure
That's
things.
not what I'm asking. The scale doesn't have a mind, right?
You better be dealing. The scale didn't build itself.
Well, the scale doesn't
So
have a
I'm
mind.
dealing with
I
the
haven't I
antecedent
haven't
things
weighed
of how you
myself.
even get a scale. Even Aristotle would say, look, there's certain artifacts
Hold
that
on,
man
hold on,
can
hold on,
make.
hold on. We're not there
Makes
yet.
a
This is
table.
simple.
You bet. Well, you just leap to a scale. I go, wait, there's
I
preconditions
know.
for even a
I'm illustrating
scale,
a point.
sir. Come on.
I'm illustrating a point. The scale doesn't have a mind,
I get the
correct?
point, but it's just leaping over multiple issues to try and get to a scale. I go, I'm dealing with the points 1 through 10 before you even get a scale.
Right. My point is the scale reveals information to me because I haven't weighed myself in a while. And the
It's a
scale
it's a
does not have a
device that man
mind.
can make, which
Right.
requires intelligibility to
Exactly.
make.
So you can get intelligibility from something that's not a mind. It's logically
Dude,
possible.
dude,
So that
you're
defeats your
saying
first
human
argument.
beings have the ability to measure things. That's a device that man created to measure things, just like a measuring tape.
Sure. That's not the point, though.
Yeah, it is the
The
point.
point is you can get intelligibility
Dude,
from
dude,
something that
dude,
doesn't
dude,
have a
dude,
mind.
dude. That's not grounding intelligibility.
I didn't
Numbnuts.
say it was.
You're
I'm
arguing
dealing with
that way.
no,
That's
your
how
argument for
surface level
your
do you want to be? This is so
your
shallow. It just shows the shallow ineptness. You bring up this lame ass illustration and go, but the calculator or the scale gives me info.
that's
Like,
not what I'm saying.
really?
Your
That's all
argument
you're arguing here, dude.
Your
I know you
first
are.
argument, what
You
was the
can't hide
reason you
behind
gave?
it. You can't hide behind the facade here. I see clearly through that. That's the only reason you leapt to that example. I go, why not a calculator? Oh, we don't
So
need care about the antecedent preconditions for how you even get a calculator. That's more systematically fundamental. Oh, we don't care about that. Can we just leap to some mitigated device?
that's not the
Oh,
point that I'm getting at.
that is the point. You leapt to it.
So what was the rationale that you gave for why the first worldview that you mentioned wasn't possible? What was that rationale? Could you repeat it
An
again?
impersonal absolute, the calculator or the scale is not ultimate.
I agree. It's not. It's not. But
Then
what
you're
was the
not dealing with
reason
my
why it
argument
can't? Oh, no, no, hold on, hold on.
whatsoever. Then you're not
What was
dealing with
the
my argument
reasoning you
whatsoever.
gave? What was the reasoning you gave?
The
Can you
world
repeat it?
view from the location of ultimacy, not some mitigated artifact of man's creation.
So
You're comparing
what was
apples and oranges here.
so what was the reason you said that that worldview is impossible? Can you give it again?
It's not providing the preconditions of any intelligible experience whatsoever. Even the making of a scale or a calculator, how it's even possible to make such a thing.
So you said initially that it was impossible for something that wasn't a mind to reveal information to us. That's why that first worldview wasn't possible.
Ultimately,
Correct?
yeah,
Yeah,
ultimately.
yeah,
That's
okay,
been
exactly.
my entire argument.
So in
But you
our
give me
in
some
our
mitigated thing that comes
experience,
way down later in the history of man's ability to sub-create things and create devices for calculational purposes.
that's not the
What
point.
the hell?
The point is your rationale
That is
was
the
wrong.
point.
No, you were literally wrong. The rationale you gave
Okay,
was
dude,
it
just
is
okay. Now
possible.
you're just hanging out the bare claims here.
It
You're
was
not
possible.
focusing
Is it
on what
not
I'm bringing
possible?
up here. You're bringing up some mitigated sliver that's way down the line. Man's discursive reasoning process to create different measuring devices. Like you can roll up a tape measure for crying out loud.
Right. I'm not talking about a tape measure. I'm talking about a
It's
device.
a unit of the measurement. What's a scale measure? Weight,
This,
physical
the scale.
properties. Tape
The
measures give
scale
away,
reveals
give you
information to me.
physical measurements of the centimeters or inches. You know,
Sure. If
take
I don't
your
know, you could talk about tape measure too. If I don't know how
any
tall I
unit
am,
of measurement. We use a spectrometer or something like
Because the
that, you
scale
know?
shows you information when you
Pick any
step on it.
device you want. I go, well, that's not ultimate. That's something that
Right?
requires
No,
intelligibility to
I'm
even
not talking
make.
about. I'm not talking about what's ultimate. I'm talking about your
I
rationale.
am. That's why I bring up the other
No,
dude.
I
So
know, I
you're
know.
not
But the
dealing with my
reason,
argument I brought up. We were dealing from an ultimate basis.
hold on, I think we're getting a little heated here. I'm just talking about the rationale you gave for why the
What?
first worldview was impossible. The rationale you gave.
From an ultimate standpoint, I'm nuts. You
Okay,
go to some scale, like, how the frick is that parallel what me and him were arguing beforehand?
because
How?
you told Jose that that's not possible. That's why we
Ultimately,
have to have
yes,
a God.
all from an ultimate source. You bring up some mitigated sliver of when man has intelligible experience and he's a creative image bearer of God, reflects the creator's aspect of being able to be a sub-creator of things. He can create devices for his
So
utilization
can
of
you give
dominion
an
over the world. You know, I'm like,
can you give an
so
argument? Can you give an argument for why it's not possible from the ultimate source, but we see it
yeah, I
possible
did.
from other sources?
The ultimate's not doesn't have any knowledge, doesn't possess any knowledge. How's it cash out
So
knowledge?
how is that not special pleading?
What?
How is that
I'm
not
not
special
applying some
pleading?
sub. You're conflating the mitigated device that comes way later that requires man's intelligibility to even create. And you're like, yeah, but how can we calculate our ultimate and just say it's just some impersonal thing that doesn't have
No, I'm
knowledge, but
not
we
saying
want
the
to cash out
calculator is
knowledge?
ultimate. I'm not saying the scale is ultimate. I'm not saying it's ultimate at all.
Then get on
When
the
I,
same freaking paradigm. What are you replacing the ontological trinity with? What are you?
whatever is ultimate, I don't know what's ultimate. I'm
Okay,
agnostic.
the mere formal claim. You have anything other than pure abstract formality that there is truth. You want to be concrete about it? I am.
Okay, do you have an argument for it?
I'm showing the transcendental argument. Deny the Christian worldview, you reduce to absurdity.
Right, and your argument was that it
You're
can't be
the one
something that
tanking that
doesn't
some
have
there's some
intelligibility.
absolute there, but that's a pure fideistic claim.
So
You're the one
what?
tanking the fideism here, not me.
Let's calm down here. Okay, let me ask it a different way. What is your reasoning based on your experience that you have?
Transcendental, eh?
No,
Everything
that's
that transcendental
not what
proof, I go, that's our rationale.
no, that's not what I'm asking. What is your reasoning to assume that it has to be an ultimate that's a mind versus not a mind?
Showing what happens that when you reject that. If you
Right.
was to take that shallow thing, okay, but the atheist is claiming, he wants to be the global atheist, so we got to just deal with that. You're denying that creator is not a mind or whatever. So we're just using that basic attribute, which is pertinent to the Christian God, of course, But he
Yeah.
has other attributes as well. But just using that bare attribute
And the reason you gave that it was that it's impossible to get that, right? From
by the
something that's not
impossibility
ultimate.
of the contrary, not just a
Yeah.
contrary,
So
but the
what's the
contrary,
argument that it's
anything.
impossible? What's the argument that it's impossible? Because I gave an example where it
Transcendental
is
argument.
possible.
Do you know what we were talking about regarding transcendental argument?
Yes, I heard your guys' whole
What is it
conversation.
transcendental then?
The transcendental is what you were saying is necessary because we have intelligibility. And
That
because
by
we have
which, in terms
intelligibility,
of
you're
which
saying God is
anything
necessary.
makes sense is intelligible. That by which to be locational ultimacy,
Sure, absolutely. Okay,
the
so
ultimate groundable being.
that is something that's not a mind. What is the argument?
Pardon?
What is the argument that it's not a mind? That's something ultimate that's not a mind.
Because it's purely impersonal, abstract, formal, doesn't change. It's not accounting for change. Um,
Wait, hold
it
on.
doesn't stand in
Things that
causal
aren't
relation.
minds change, right?
What are you placing in the locational ultimacy?
Whatever
Just
is ultimate.
non-mind,
I'm agnostic.
sir. You got to give me an example of one.
It could be just the way
What?
nature is. It could be everything
So
came from the Big Bang.
some abstract category of nature. Okay, you want to make
It could
that
be
an
everything
ultimate
came from the
abstract
Big
shell,
Bang.
right?
I mean, yeah. It could be a god. It could be a god. It could be
You're
your
invoking
Christian god.
you're invoking just abstract concepts now.
So, no, it could be your god. It could be a different
What's the
god.
broadest category? If you deny God, the triune God of Scripture, what do you make an
I'm
ultimate? Some
not
abstract
denying God.
category?
I'm not
Something
denying
purely
God.
formal and abstract?
I'm
What are
not
you
denying
putting in
God.
place of them? A question
I,
mark?
it could be God.
So the worldview is tanking before it gets to the locational ultimate. It's bottlenecking, right? So we just
I'm
put a question mark on the circle there where the ontological trinity would be as a
well.
creator creation distinction. You're like, yeah, my mind's like a question mark. The worldview, I want to have intelligibility on this, but it, press me to location ultimate, it tanks halfway to getting there.
That brings me back to my point where I had before, where we can have
So you're a
intelligibility
mystic?
without no.
So you're a mystic?
We can have intelligibility without understanding every detail. Like, do you know how many hairs you have on your head right now?
No, I'm just talking about the ultimate, the overarching framework by any
But
factors
you
intelligible,
know
even
you
a
have hair.
mitigated thing. We're not
on your
saying
head,
all
right?
facts, dude. Christian worldview is not saying God's exhaustively give us omniscience. He's given
I
us
agree. Yeah, absolutely.
He's given us finite revelation as a framework by which things are intelligible, meaningful, sensible, and intelligible. That's it. You're like, do we know how many hairs are on his head? I go, no, he does. I said, he knows all things, created all things, instantiates, secures all things. He has all that knowledge. We don't. But in
And
order to
if
do
you wait,
philosophy
hold
at
on.
all, you believe something does have all that knowledge. If you reject God, I go, what is it? All men in general, or some only elite class of the man of humanity, i.e., the philosophers? Which
So
one are you going to pivot to?
you just said you don't know all things, but you know God for certain.
That's correct. You can know he exists without knowing all things.
Okay, so then how can you know that you're not wrong, that you're not deceived?
You're
There could
assuming
always be another
deception, some
fact, right?
ultimate standard by which I'm deceived. What would that be?
I don't know, but the point is, you said you
But
don't know all
you're
things.
making the accusation, then I turn the argument on you. Go, okay, cash it out. You're like, yeah, I'll have to do that. I go, quit
No,
playing the
okay,
stupid game with me.
okay. So
Given the framework, these are revealed certain things to us, such we can know them for certain, because he's the author and finisher of man's faith in general. That they're all image bearers of God. They don't become that at a particular age. Given our view of man, you're free to reject it, okay, but at least steel man us,
there could
okay.
be, okay. So your view is God revealed it to you in a way where you know,
Everyone,
sure,
everyone.
whatever, everyone. God revealed it to you and to everyone in a way where
General
the,
revelation is
yes,
distinct from
where
special revelation. So general revelation is enough knowledge for man's condemnation, not for his salvation. That's why they need either the gospel. That's necessary for their salvation.
yes.
Having a
So on
saving
your view,
relationship and saving knowledge of God, not a general knowledge of
okay,
God.
you wanted me to steel man your view, right? So on your view, God reveals to everybody himself through general and special revelation, proves it
Not
to us
everyone has
because we have
access to special
intelligibility,
revelation, so that's not our
because
position. Not
I'm
everyone
saying,
has access to special revelation.
sure, he revealed that to some people, but he's used general revelation for all of us. And because we have intelligibility, right, we know he exists. And
Yes, we're made in
those
his
of us
image. It's
who are
innate knowledge and also external,
right, and
given all creation.
I'm just secretly lying to you, and deep down I
I
believe,
never
and
said that. You're lying to yourself. It's called
sure,
self-deception.
what,
That's what Romans
right,
1 is explicating.
okay,
You just keep
so
moving
that's
to
your
the
view.
next rhetorical device here.
Okay, so that's your view, right?
The man self-deceived himself. He suppressed the truth and unrighteousness and exchanged the glory that's due to God for the very things they possess, intelligible experience. They ought to thank God and honor him as God. They don't. They suppress the truth and unrighteousness and exchange the glory that's due to him for things in creation, false idols, worship man himself, whatever. Anything other than Yahweh, they'll worship, make ultimate in place of him. I go, what
Okay.
do you put in place of him then as your idol? Because you want to worship him as the ground of all being and creator, sustainer of everything, then what, Mr. Mystic?
I, I never claimed to be a mystic. So did I steelman your
If
view
you're
correctly?
not a mystic, then you're going to name and claim what that is. Otherwise, you're punting to its mystery. You're a mystic.
No, I'm claiming that there's an ultimate, but
What
not
is it?
that it is
What is it?
necessary.
What is it?
Whatever is ultimate, that's
What
what.
is it?
All I know about it is that
What
it's ultimate.
is it?
How many hairs are on
Be
your head?
concrete. Be concrete about it. I am. Give me
I.
specific detail of
Why do you
that
need
thing.
exact? Give me the specific number of hairs on your head, or you don't know
That's a
there's hairs on your
mitigated
head.
fact. That's a mitigated fact.
Right, and you're
And that's
saying
a
it has these
specific
other
empirical one.
mitigated variables besides it being
You're
ultimate.
conflating something in imminent creation with that which is ultimate, the ground of all being, which is the overarching argument here. You're like,
So
yeah,
it's
but since
ultimate and
I'm
has
limited on
other
my finite
variables.
facts here, I can't answer the ultimate. I go, that's where your worldview bottlenecks. You want to punt to mystery, but say, I want to have intelligibility, but punt to mystery. I'm not sure why we have intelligibility. I don't know how many numbers on my head is. You're expecting me to explain the ultimate. I go, fine. Wallow in absurdity, bud. You're not cashing out what you're supposed to be doing. The Christian is.
So
You're not
when it comes
answering
to
the
the
Christian. You're not
ultimate,
reaching
I
that
need to
level,
know.
highest level of argument
Wait,
and
to
cashing it out.
be clear, when it comes to the ultimate, according to you, I want to steelman your view right now, okay? When it comes to the ultimate, I have to know every single detail about it, right? Or my whole.
No one said that. I
Well, yeah,
said,
you
given the
wanted it
Christian
concrete.
outlook and God's self-revelatory acts, which he has revealed he's triune, but that's given special revelation. Okay? That does
Yes,
cash out to one of the many,
you
which
said you wanted
everyone
something
takes for
more concrete
granted.
than the ultimate, right?
What?
You said you wanted something more concrete.
Are you gonna give a thorough worldview account or are you not?
I'm an agnostic.
So you're not
I
gonna do your job from a
I
worldview
accept
perspective.
I accept that there's an ultimate.
I go, the
I
Christian's doing
use
it
the
on
laws
his
of logic.
side. The Christian's doing it on his side, but you're the one claiming to have self-sufficiency, man's autonomous. I go, is it really? Show me that
Maybe
worldview,
I
please, or
don't
is it been
know.
attacked?
Maybe God is in control. That's possible. I'm not denying that.
We're not saying it's a possibility. We're saying it's a transcendental necessity. That's why we're
Okay,
offering
what's the
transcendental
argument for
proof
what's
to
the
the
argument?
interlocutor who demands proof. I go,
Okay,
oh,
then
well,
what's
I'm
the
going to do it
argument
without
for that?
compromise here because man's not the ultimate authority. God is.
What's the argument that it's necessary? Because right now we both agree there's an
What's the
ultimate. What's the
argument? I've
argument?
been laying out the transcendental argument. You're just flat out ignoring it. Just saying, give me the argument. I go, I'll give you the argument. And you don't see it.
So you're saying it's necessary, and one of the properties of its necessity is that it has a mind that reveals things to us. Because the impossibility of the contrary, something that does not have a mind cannot reveal to us. Is that your position?
Yeah, how's it revealed to you?
You're right, and
Does it
I've
have a
debunked
mind or
that.
a will? How do
Things
you
that
debunk?
do not, because things that do not have a mind in our current reality now can reveal information to us we didn't have before. So that argument is
And
debunked.
the shallowness of this thing, you think you're real smart ass regarding it. I go, the
I'm not a
calculator is
smart.
able to
Your
scale.
rationale was debunked.
You're not even
Period.
dealing with the antecedent prerequisites for a scale or a tape
Was that your
measure.
rationale? Yes or no? Was that your rationale? Yes or no? Nothing?
No, dude, you're not focusing.
You got debunked
No, you're
completely.
not this shallow, childish, thinking you want to score points today. You're not even scoring points here. I'm
I'm
showing
not
that
showing
dude.
for points.
You're
I'm
just
showing that
dogmatically
your
assuming you're scoring
rationale
points here.
doesn't
You're
work.
not.
Your
Okay?
rationale doesn't work.
No, you're not even arguing for the locational ultimacy. You're just going,
You're right.
but
I'm
if I
not.
have a
I'm arguing
mitigated
with your
impersonal
rationale.
calculator, then
Hold
do I
on. You're
just
doing a
forego
Mott and Bailey.
locational
You are doing
ultimacy?
a Mott and Bailey. We're discussing your
No, I'm not.
rationale.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Okay, let's
Slow
start
down there,
again.
buckaroo.
Okay, let's start again. Okay,
Why
so
do you
there
go
is an
to some
ultimate.
mitigated sliver further down the road and go, yeah, but if I took that and put that in locational ultimacy, what do you do with that? I go, I'll continue
I'm
on its
not
own
putting in the
ground.
location of ultimate. I'm not. You're
Yes,
doing
you
a Mott and
better
Bailey.
be.
No, I'm not. No, I'm not.
Yes, you did. You
Okay, so
said,
what
well,
I'm
why
doing.
couldn't it be, Matt? Why
Okay,
couldn't it be, Matt? I go,
let's
because I can critique it.
let's start over.
Quit
So
pivoting to where you're saying, I really want to put it in there, but I'm not going to disclose it,
I'm
Matt. I'm
not
not
putting
really
in
doing
the.
that,
You're
Matt. I
not
go,
listening.
yes, you are doing that.
You're not listening
Wake
to what I'm
up.
saying.
Yes, I am listening to it. What are you doing with that
Can you
thing? This
steel man what I'm saying?
impersonal that
Can
he
you steel
says
man what
it
I'm saying?
calculates stuff. I go, because man created it.
Can you steel man what I'm saying?
Why aren't you precise and clear? I've been following you. I've been tracking you. You're
Okay,
thinking,
okay.
well, I
So
haven't been
here's what
tracking
I'm
you. I
saying.
go, you haven't shown where I've miscritiqued you.
Right now, you and I both agree there's an ultimate, right?
I'm
We're
laying out a
starting with
concrete one. You want to just type to some abstract formula. There is truth. I don't know what it is, man. I can't tell you what it is. Well, I'm
that.
not
Right.
going to tell you. Name and claim it.
Okay, I know. Hold on. We're just gonna go real slow. Okay. Right now, you and I both agree there's an ultimate, correct?
If you do not have an ultimate, you destroy intelligibility because there's no actual unity amongst diversity. But that ultimate needs to cash out plurality as well. How does yours do that?
I don't
You
know
haven't
how it
answered
does.
a one iota.
I don't know. I use the laws of
Whoa, whoa,
logic
whoa,
and
whoa.
I
Why are we
can
having a
make
discussion when you're
predictions.
not going to actually hold up your end of the bargain here
Hold
and
on.
cash it out thoroughly? Come on,
So
let's do it.
right. Okay. So your argument was that whatever is ultimate, it has to reveal itself to us, right? And has to have a
That's
mind to
on
do
my
that.
worldview. How do you have any
Yeah,
knowledge
I
on
agree.
your worldview?
Yes. So in my worldview, I don't know what's ultimate.
I'm not
Then
going
there's
to
then
answer the
there's
There is an
no
claim.
then there's no ultimate for you to invoke.
the ultimate is what gives us intelligibility.
You say it's a
No, sir,
mystery.
sir, listen to me. There's no ultimate for you to invoke and instantiate. Now, can you do otherwise?
Well, what do you mean? Can I do otherwise?
Okay. Do you have an ultimate that you can instantiate?
I don't. Can you clarify that for me?
Okay. You don't understand you don't understand instantiation.
Like, can I prove that it's true? Is that what you're asking?
Okay. I want you to instantiate that it is the case that there is an ultimate.
So there
Can
is
you?
an ultimate because we're speaking intelligibly, and it's what the
No,
ground of our
but you
intelligibility
see,
is.
no, but you see, the claim to speaking intelligibly already presupposes the ultimate. How is it the case that the ultimate actually exists?
the ultimate actually exists because as we use the laws of logic and can comprehend each other and make
No,
human
sir.
testable
Sir, the
predictions
laws,
with them.
the laws, okay. You need to stop with this silly invocation that so many unbelievers do. The laws of logic do not stand in causal relations. Do you want to dispute that statement?
No, that's not what I'm saying.
Okay, so stop invoking the laws of logic. Now, you will either instantiate the law that there is an ultimate or not. Appealing to intelligibility. Okay, you are surmising you have intelligibility. Okay? Now, intelligibility can only be actual if and only if you can instantiate that there's an ultimate. Can you do that?
So I think there you're confusing epistemology with ontology.
Okay, dude, listen to me. I'm 61 years old. I've been doing this for 12 years. Do you think I haven't heard that diversionary response before?
I already answered
Okay,
that
now listen
earlier.
to me.
You
Listen to me
already heard the
carefully.
answer.
Listen to me carefully. I'm not stupid. I'm a fairly decent debater, and I'm accustomed to people giving me diversionary responses when I ask a question. Now, either you will or you will not instantiate the ultimate. Will you do that right now?
All I can say is that I presuppose it then.
Okay,
On,
sir, will you instantiate that it is the case that there is an ultimate?
I mean, I gave you my reasoning, but you didn't
Okay,
like.
sir,
I
I
don't know.
asked you a direct question. If you dodge one more time, I will kick you from the stage. I will repeat the fair and reasonable question that I asked you. You have already demonstrated you have a penchant for giving diversionary responses. Here is the question which you previously dodged. Will you instantiate the ultimate right now?
I can't do that.
Okay, so there is no ultimate for you to invoke, is there?
I guess I'm just going to presuppose it then.
Okay, sir. So you are arbitrarily claiming there's an ultimate then. Is that correct?
Well, I don't believe it's arbitrary because I can make
Okay,
human
sir, okay,
predictions.
if it's not okay, listen carefully. I wasn't born yesterday. Either you will or you will not instantiate the ultimate. Will you do so right now?
I don't believe so. No, I guess not.
Okay. And there is no ultimate for you to invoke. Okay? If you invoke an ultimate from here on out, I will kick you from the stage because you have already conceded that you will not instantiate it.
So
Okay?
when you say instantiate, can I just ask a clarifying question? Not trying to make you upset. I'm just honestly a
Go
little bit
ahead.
confused by what you're saying. Okay, so when you say instantiate an ultimate, do you mean prove that an ultimate is specific ultimate is real without a
I
shadow of
want
a doubt?
you to demonstrate to me how it is that you can conclude that it is the case that there is an ultimate.
I cannot conclude for absolute certainty that there.
Okay. And sir, I didn't ask you. Again, you're doing what unbelievers do all the time. I am very familiar with this sloganeering about certainty. No one's discussing certainty right now. Either you will or you will not instantiate an ultimate. Which is it? I want you to answer that you will do one or the other.
And again, just to be clear, when you say instantiate, you mean like confirm
I've
it.
already made that clear. Last chance. I want an answer. I want you to say out of your mouth either I will or I will not instantiate the ultimate.
I will
Which is
not
it?
instantiate what's ultimate.
Good. Therefore, there is no ultimate for you to invoke directly or indirectly, explicitly or implicitly. Therefore, you have no grounds to talk about unity or diversity whatsoever. You have no grounds to speak intelligibly.
Could you
Your
unpack that for me?
worldview, your worldview is missing the necessary ingredient. It's like eating a Big Mac without the special sauce. It ain't a Big Mac without the special sauce. Okay? You're done. So you need to shut your mouth in your defiance against the God of the Bible that you know, because we're done. Because the God of the Bible has shut your mouth with his self-disclosure. Okay?
So, can you give me the argument for why I can't invoke those things?
You just did. You said you couldn't. The reason why you can't is because there is no ultimate other than the God of the Bible.
And what's the
Okay?
argument for that?
What's that?
What's the argument that there's no ultimate other than the God of the Bible?
Okay? Because the ultimate that exists has revealed himself in and through creation and through human history, the God of the Bible. You will either accept that rationale or you will not. Do you accept that rationale?
I do not accept that rationale.
Okay, good. And you have no ultimate to invoke. Therefore, there's no basis for argumentation or reason.
Well, so
So
can
why
I ask you a
listen
question?
to me carefully. Listen to me carefully. You have no ultimate to invoke. Is that correct?
No specific ultimate. That's correct.
Okay, there is no ultimate for you to instantiate. Therefore, when you invoke things like reason, truth, arguments are rendered meaningless because there's no unity or diversity to be instantiated without you instantiating the ultimate. So you're done. You need to shut your mouth before the God of the Bible and await judgment day because you refuse to repent and turn to Jesus Christ.
And how do I know that that one is ultimate? So what's the argument for that?
How do you know that the God of the Bible? By the only means by which you could know that he engages in an aspect of self disclosure through natural and special revelation. But you already reject that, don't you?
Well, I'm not certain.
You already reject that, don't you?
I rejected that it
You
was.
already reject that, don't you?
I, I rejected that that was.
Okay. Is that, are we clear? See, when I ask a question from one human being to another, I have this silly little expectation that you'll answer the question that I'm putting to you rather than you giving me little diversionary rabbit trail responses. Okay?
Right. I'm not trying to make you
Now,
angry, Darth.
do you reject the self disclosure of the Christian God?
I suspend judgment.
Okay, okay, okay. Now, it is impossible to suspend judgment about that which you have become acquainted with. Okay? Are you acquainted with the basic self disclosure claims of the God of the Bible?
Yes, I'm acquainted with them.
Okay. Do you accept that the self disclosure of the God of the Bible being the ultimate? Do you accept it?
I am honestly not sure. I
Now, I
don't.
didn't
I don't know for
ask you
sure.
if you were sure. I didn't ask you about certainty. I said, do you accept it?
No, I don't accept it.
Good. Your non acceptance is a de facto denial. Do you know what a de facto denial is?
Like you're saying, it entails
It's the
that it.
fact of the case. You're not explicitly denying it, but you're denying it by virtue of not accepting it as the ground of all being. So you reject the self-disclosure claims of the God of the Bible through creation and through human history recorded in the scriptures. So you need to shut your mouth and stop talking because you have nowhere else to turn in order to speak intelligibly. Do you?
I mean, I believe that I do. But
Good.
what is the argument?
What is the ultimate that you are now willing to instantiate that you said you could not and would not before?
Oh no, I wasn't saying that. I just didn't know if the God of
Okay,
the
listen
Bible
to
was
me.
ultimate.
If you dodge one more time, I will kick you from the room. Do you understand? You've already done it multiple times.
All
Are
right.
you
I'm sorry,
aware
Darth. I
of
don't
your
mean to dodge.
pattern of behavior?
I'm sorry, Dodge. I don't mean to, or Darth. I don't mean to dodge your
Okay,
question.
hit the road, you deceitful little scumbag. Okay, this is what they do. Okay, bye bye. Don't let the door hit you on the way out. This is what they do. They dodge, 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 evade, evade, evade. They rabbit trail, rabbit trail, rabbit trail. He wants to claim he suspends judgment, but that was a lie. He was lying. He knew he was lying. I know he was lying. The chihuahua with the goggles knows he's lying. The guy with the big eyes and the red turban knows he's lying. And everybody in the audience knows that he was lying. Okay? And because he wanted to persistently be deceptive and evasive, that's it. He gets kicked out of the room for his chronic bad behavior. Keep lying to me over and over and over again, I'm going to kick you out of the room. Do you recall the chihuahua with the goggles, how he admitted that an ultimate is necessary for him to speak intelligibly? But he had no ultimate to invoke. He said so. So he needs to shut his mouth and be quiet. Okay? Come on up, William. And lest anyone in the audience who is new here thinking that I'm too harsh, I've dealt with this guy before. And even if this was the first time, he put on full display a pattern of deception and evasion.